Daniel, you recently posted on your Instagram page that you have plenty of energy left at the end of the day because you work out consistently. And I want that too. But I'm so tired by the end of the day. How do I even get into the habit of working out? I want to start, but I'm too tired to start, which I think is a catch-22 situation that a lot of people are in, especially parents who work, but also stay-at-home parents as well. It's a full-time job, and it's a more of a full-time job than I do. That's
Mm.
for sure. It's hard. So we're going to talk about that today. Just want to say, first of all, though, that if I appear slightly off compared with usual, it's because I reintroduced high intensity intervals into my cardio this morning. And even though that was about 6 hours ago, my body is like, what the fuck was that this morning? That was crazy. What is going on right now? You know that feeling how when you're taking a break from the high intense stuff and then you do it for the first time, even if you don't push it too hard, right? I did 2 intervals of like 20 to 30 seconds. Your nervous system is like, what the fuck was that?
Anytime I finish any intervals like that,
Yeah.
if I have to have a conversation with someone, I'll usually preface with letting them know, hey, like, I just need to catch my faculties. Please forgive me for a moment. Like, you're all kinds of, my friends and I would call it being cooked. Like, you've just cooked yourself, basically. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like that as well. It's been a while since I've attempted a 1 rep max on anything because for me the risk to reward just isn't worth it anymore.
mm,
But I remember the last time I attempted a deadlift 1 rep max, I felt I described it as I felt a little bit wobbly for a couple of days. Like my nervous system just wasn't quite performing as well as it should be. Like I felt like mentally fine, but my body was like, okay, why aren't things just like responding in the way they normally would? And that's because when you really make that absolute true maximum effort to pick up as heavy a weight as you possibly can, even if it's just 1 repetition that you attempt, that just fries your nervous system.
of course, there's a power lifter that I went to to a seminar he was hosting. His name is
Mm.
Greg Knuckles. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
Speaks very eloquently, very well put together.
Mm.
And in one of the things he was mentioning about squatting 615 pounds easily is, as I prepare to squat 615 pounds and potentially shit out my spine, you have to create you have to create so much intra-abdominal pressure to protect your spine that that's what it feels like. You're bearing down so hard, right?
I mean, look what happened to what's the English guy's name who had the deadlift world record?
Eddie Hall.
Eddie Hall. It gave him concussion, and he went blind for like a day when he got
Mm,
his deadlift world record of what was it? Like 500 kilos, I think it was, right?
500 kg. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It gave him concussion, and he went blind for a day. Like
Hmm.
that's just insane.
Did his nose bleed when he did that
I think
repetition?
he
I
was
think so,
bleeding out
right?
of his ears as well as his nose.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's no joke, but obviously, I am not even slightly close to that kind of level.
Buddy.
But still, it just shows you physically what can happen when you're at that level. But also for those of us who are not even close to that level, when you make that maximum effort, it throws things off more than you realize. And as we age, that just gets worse. I remember reading in one of Dan John's books, um, somebody asked him, like, how long should I rest in between my 1 rep max attempts? He said, well, it depends. If you're 20, about 3 to 5 minutes. If you're 50, about 3 to 5 months.
It's true,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Like, you only get so many of those. And, I think it's also to look at the inverse of that as well. When you're trying to operate at that level of intensity and that kind of effort,
Mm.
it's not so much of whether or not you can do it. It's whether or not the risk, like you had mentioned, is worth the reward. And if you
Yeah.
do hit that lift or see you potentially injure yourself, it's more so you only have so many recoveries to
Sure.
come back from an injury where, okay, now I can, it's going to take you longer to recover from that. So is that risk really worth it? You can get a pretty good estimate with like a 3 repetition maximum to understand what your 1 repetition maximum would
Yeah,
be. So it's just about figuring that out. So what's most
totally.
realistic for you?
Yeah. And obviously, high intensity cardio and a high intensity 1 rep maximum lift effort, they're slightly different things, but we're still pushing our nervous system. We're pushing our systems to their limit. And that's why there's such a strange feeling afterwards, especially. Go ahead, coach.
Yeah, no, 'cause I was just thinking about this relative to the question,
Mm.
right?
Yeah,
Like you're putting yourself in a spot where you're creating a lot of metabolic waste. So, for this person who's mentioning about like, how do I
mm,
get started, but I'm too tired to start. I think a
totally.
lot of people end up starting here. They think, okay, well, like I'm going
Yeah,
to go to the
don't
gym. I got
start
to
with the
start going
HIIT
hard.
workouts, right? We don't start with that. Absolutely
Mhm.
not. Yeah. So, yeah, and in case anybody's wondering, the reason I'm introducing these intervals, it's not for any additional fat loss or anything else like that. It's because for me, my cardiovascular health is becoming more and more and more important. That's why I've started to track my blood pressure on a regular basis and post it on Instagram. And zone 2 cardio, that lower intensity cardio, is fantastic. So that's what I've been building up the last few weeks and the last few months. And now I want to train in those higher heart rate zones as well into zone 4. And I was just below zone 5 today. I think I hit 89% of my max. And I think 90% is zone 5. And to train in those higher zones as well as the lower zones, it gives you just overall better cardiovascular fitness and better cardiovascular health. And in the random situations in real life where I might need to make some kind of maximum effort, let's say, running to grab one of my kids if they put themselves in any kind of danger, I want to know that my body and my nervous system, are capable of actually allowing me to do that
Yeah,
in a
you're
way that's not going to put anybody else in any additional danger.
you're not trying to be Sebastian Saw. I don't know if you saw that uh, over the
Oh,
weekend. His marathon,
the marathon world record. Yeah.
bro.
Under 2 hours.
One
That's crazy.
1 hour 59 minutes 30 seconds. The guy who came second place also broke the record prior to that race. And so he broke the record. Actually, first, second, and third all broke the record. However, how do you break a world record? He still comes second or third place. Is
That's
crazy.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
so,
his
and then the
his tip.
speed that they were running at too, right? I mean, how long do you think you would last at that pace?
Funny enough, you mentioned that. So when
Yeah.
you do the conversion into terms of speed, I think it's 13 miles an hour or 21 kilometers an hour for 2 hours, which is insane. I've touched on like a motorless treadmill where you can see how fast you can run. I touched 21 kilometers an hour for a moment, and this person is running that for 2 hours
What's
straight.
that per mile? Like how many minutes does it take to run a mile at that kind of pace?
Let's see.
So I guess if they're doing 13 miles an hour, we do 60 divided by 13, right?
Two.
That's a four.
What is it?
That's a 4.6. So let's call it 4 minutes 30, 4 minutes
33.
40. 4 minutes
Yeah,
33
4:33.
seconds a mile. I don't think I could run a mile in 4 minutes 33 seconds, let alone 26 and a bit. Just crazy. That is absolutely insane. Like, how quickly must they be running when they're in their zone 2 training?
Uh,
Right? To get to
it
80% of the max, no, it's not 80%, for them to be in zone 2, they must be moving at a decent clip.
it would be probably the typical pace that like I or you would be running at for a
Yeah,
full
if
on
we're
sprint.
pushing it, if I'm trying to get to like zone 3, zone 4, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. So let's get back to the question because it's a good
Mm,
question. So basically, the question is, how do I escape this catch 22 of
mm.
wanting to train, wanting to make the effort, but feeling too tired to do it, even though you know that doing it will make you less tired? So something that I've recommended to people in the past, and I'm going to use a phrase that you use a lot, coach, is just give 100% of whatever percentage you have. That's what we need from you right now. If you have 2%, let's just get that 2%. And so what I've been doing with people recently and recommending, and this has been working well, somebody who's so tired at the end of the day. I'm like, okay, cool. You feel too tired to train. You feel too tired to do what you would consider an acceptable workout. So we have to just lower your expectations. We need you to go in, do a short workout after work in the evening, and exert 50% effort. That's it. That's step one. And then maybe on the weekend, where you have more energy because you're not going to work on that day, maybe you push to 70 or 80% effort. That is enough to get the needle moving, to start to increase your energy levels to the point where you can be that person who comes home after work. And even if you are a little bit tired, still put in a decent workout.
Hmm.
So that's the simple answer, coach. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think reframing what success looks like in that perspective as well. It's like you said, give 100% of what you do have to give. Absolutely.
Yeah.
However, what that looks like, it might not be going to the gym to get a strength workout in, but it
No.
could still be going to the gym and just starting to create the space for the habit to exist. That's 100%
Mm.
effort.
Yeah, for sure. And it could be just doing some very light stuff at home
Mm.
using 2 or 3 or 5 pound dumbbells. Maybe you do something like some body weight squats and then some body weight glute bridges. And then you grab a couple of 2 pound dumbbells and you do a couple of floor presses on your back just using the 2 pound dumbbells. Then you do some single arm rows using the 2 pound dumbbells. And then you get into a plank position for 3 seconds. Maybe that's your workout. Maybe you do that whole thing twice. And you wouldn't think that would do much, but you'd be surprised because something is always better than nothing.
It's greater than zero input. So there's going to be some sort of result from that. You know,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the phrase that often comes to mind with questions like this, because it is a paradox where it's like, okay, wait, I'm
Mm,
gonna use energy to get more energy. Like, how does that work?
exactly. Yeah.
And keeping in mind that that fatigue that you're feeling, that exhaustion that comes up every day, or more so when you want to go to the gym more often than not for most people when
Hmm.
they're not doing it, you know, that's a particular state that you're in. How do we shift that state? Well, staying in that state isn't going to make you feel like you want to to do that thing. So you can't outthink a thinking problem. You can act
Hmm.
your way into a new way of acting, but you can't think your way into a new way of acting. So
Yeah.
even though you don't want to do it, finding ways to sneak it in, like we've said in the past, parking further away from the door, the grocery store, wherever it is you're going. But
Mm,
also, your body is about efficiency. How do we keep energy as high as we can while doing the minimum? So whatever you give your body, the more your body's going to give you. If you sit on the couch, your body's going to get really, really good at sitting on a couch. If you give your body more activity, more movement, then it's going to get really good at moving and performing strength exercises, being able to generate tension, absorb force, recreate force, all the things that you need to build muscle. So whatever you give your body, the more it's going to give you. But if you're consistently not doing the thing, you reduce your capacity. The things that you just mentioned, the calf raises, the glute bridges, the floor presses, this is how we slowly start to build more capacity over time.
exactly.
For the people who are parents, you've seen this happen with your kids. Your kids don't move when you first have them, right? They're just there, right? You got to hold them. All they do is maybe move their hands a little bit. That's it. Like the movement's so subtle, but those subtle little movements start to build efficiency. They start to build capacity. As they start to move, then their arms can go further. They start to roll, then they go to tummy time. Okay, they can only have so much tummy time in a day. This is the same thing. How do you slowly build capacity and meet yourself where you're at to increase it over time, increase the stimulus, increase the stress? And
Hmm.
over time, you're going to start to notice when you don't do the workout, something's missing. You're feeling
Yeah.
itchy. Like, what am I missing? Oh, you know what? I haven't walked a lot. Maybe I should go get steps. Or I feel like I could use a really good lift right now. And that's how we go from feeling too tired to do the thing to feeling like, hey, this is a thing that now I always do.
Absolutely, coach. Yeah. I would recommend as well, like writing down in a notepad or on your phone or somewhere, like, okay, what are you doing in your workouts? Like, how many sets are you doing of each exercise and how many reps are you doing and how much weight are you using? Write that down. Next week, do one more rep. And don't even worry about trying to do one more rep in each set. So let's say this evening, You go home, you do 2 sets of 10 body weight squats. Okay, 2 sets of 10 reps. Next time you do it, do 1 set of 11 and then 1 set of 10. So you did 1 more than last week. Following week, try doing 2 sets of 11 and just slowly build from there. That is progressive overload. You're doing a little bit more each time. And even if that feels like you're only making about 50% effort, that's fine. You don't have to be covered in sweat at the end of a workout for it to have been effective. Just doing something is going to be effective. And like I said, on a weekend, you're going to have more energy, unless you do something like you wait until the very end of the day to do it. So if on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning, if you have no place that you need to go to within the first couple of hours of waking up, a workout should maybe be the first thing that you do. Get up, grab coffee, grab water, go to your gym area, and go and do something at home. If you don't have a gym area, create one. Seriously, if you don't have one, create one. I've seen there's a trend around here where I live. I've been to a few different parents' houses, and they have, like, let's say, like a partly finished basement, and it's the kids' play area. I'm like, why? Let your kid play in the living room. Let your kid play in their bedroom. Turn that partly finished basement into your gym area.
No one's
Your kid
inviting
doesn't
you over
need
their
3
house
fucking
anymore.
play areas. You need a gym area. You need a play area. That is now your play area.
That's me.
Like, seriously, that's really, really common.
Yeah.
Right.
What there's the phrase we don't stop playing because we get old because we stop playing. And it's true, where
Yeah.
you don't have a place to play. Of course, where do you hang out? In the living room. What do? You sit down. Okay. But when
Yep.
you look at like previous generations, like I know it's different time and place, but like my grandfather, for example, like out in the backyard, tending to the garden,
Yep.
doing stuff around the house. There's things that you can do that also count towards movement. And even if you don't want to start at the gym, that's fine. Look at the things that a lot of a lot of what makes you tired is having open loops on tasks that you've yet to complete. Knowing
So
that you
true.
have to do laundry, knowing that you have to fix that, that light, you got to change that light bulb, you got to fix this thing in the house. It's all these things that are taking from your capacity. And instead of doing them, what do? We distract ourselves, we scroll, we sit, we say, I'm going to wait, or I'll call somebody eventually. That shit's taking up bandwidth too. But if you slowly start to chip away at those, how many times then have you had an email or a text message you got to get back to because you haven't answered in like 2-3 days, and it's just fucking stewing in the back of your mind, just
Hate it.
stealing bandwidth?
Hate it.
We've all been there. Just answer the
Yeah.
fucking message. Just go fix the
Yeah.
thing. And having that task list is what keeps you away from all the things that drain your energy. And in that, you feel successful. You start to build momentum. These are the
Yeah.
small ways we do that over time.
So I think this is great because this mental fatigue is going to contribute to how physically tired you feel in the evening, which is going to mean that you're going to feel less likely to want to do the workout. So if you have things to do on the day, whether you're a stay-at-home parent or whether you go to work, write your to-do list for the day. And fuck writing it on your phone, the same place that's distracting you with social media. I have like hundreds of index cards just over there.
Yeah.
And there we go. Yeah. So I'm not going to turn it over with my to-do list, but I write my to-do list on a piece of paper. When everything's crossed off, I tear the paper up and I put it in the trash. Okay. I don't like my to-do list on my phone. Because if I open up the app to check my to-do list, I'm also going to have a look at Instagram. I'm going to have a look at all the other distracting websites, okay? And then I've just got my to-do list. I've got my pen. I do the thing, cross it off. Do the thing, cross it off. Do the thing, cross it off. You'll get more done in a shorter amount of time with that as well. So start to plan more. Start to plan more. Also, write down your workout. Write down what you're going to do. Squat, glute bridge, row, press, plank, whatever the hell it's going to be. Write it down on a piece of paper. Like, I'm old school, right? As much as I like the app that we use for our clients, and I have used it for months and months and months in the past, right now I'm a bigger fan of just writing my workouts down in a notepad. just right now. In the past, I've really enjoyed the app that we use and being able to see how much weight I used last time at a glance and how many reps I did last time at a glance. But for me right now, I need to be on my phone less. So I think like pen and paper is better. And for any clients listening who also want to be on their phone less, there is a link that you can go to. If you want it, just send me or send to a message. We'll send you a link for you to be able to sign in on your desktop, maybe print out the workout, and you can like just log it all later on. And trying to wing everything as well is another reason you're so tired. This is just basic time management. Figuring out on the fly. Yeah, that's draining.
Yeah. Our brain is not geared to task switch. It likes
Yeah.
predictability. It likes knowing what's coming next. When you have a chaotic day, because you know nothing nothing spikes my anxiety or just like, the feeling of, oh fuck, when someone will be like, hey man, do you have 5 minutes? Like, actually today I fucking do not. Like, please do not ask for anything. It's back to back on everything. And that's also on me for not, obviously leaving space in my day for that. But I think a lot of people deal
Yeah.
with that too. You think you're going to have smooth sailing day, but then you get a call from school that you got to go pick up your kid because they're sick. Okay, now that means you got to leave work, and that's going to push your weekend further because now you got to work on the weekend. There's all these things that
Yeah.
come up. So those task switching or trying to figure out things on the go, that you come home, for example, you don't know what you're going to cook for dinner because you didn't plan it. So it's easy to say, fuck it, we're just going to order pizza, and doing that
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 days a week, right?
Exactly, coach. Exactly. So yeah, this is a thing to give you more energy at the end of the day as well. Like planning ahead is really important. Also, if you go from sitting in the morning while having coffee and breakfast to then sitting in the car on the way to work, to then sitting at your desk for the day, and then either sitting in a staff area or a canteen or wherever, a cafe to have your lunch, and then sitting back at your desk, then sitting in your car to drive home, and then sitting for the entire. Enough with the sitting. Enough with the sitting. I like the move reminders on the Apple Watch. I think those are great. Like
Mm.
every hour, get up for a minute. At lunchtime, go for a short, slow walk. Like walking doesn't have to be quick for it to be energy generating. It could just be 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 1 minute or 30 seconds of just standing up and moving around. That's all it has to be.
Mm.
But that constant sitting for so much of the day, that is also tiring you out.
Yeah, life doesn't need to take place in a series of chairs. It can also
Mm.
happen while you're on your feet. While
Yep.
you're like, I was talking to a friend of mine about this. We always talk about how important it is to sit down, be mindful, eat your meals. And there are days where I'm sitting a lot and I eat standing up because that's the only time I'm going to get on my feet for. Like, I have my
Yeah.
walking pad, I can do calls. So there's times where I want to
Mm.
sit and be focused, like this episode, for example.
Oh, absolutely. At my last like actual real job when I lived in the UK,
Mm.
I worked in an office and I lived a 5 minute walk from where I worked, and it was a desk job. So I would come home at lunchtime and I would stand while eating lunch. Then I would go for a walk before going back to the office. That's something that I did. I would also stand in the morning before going to work and just like stand and read something, like at my desk or something, or stand and watch something. Um, yeah, standing and moving around, even if it is just leisurely, it's going to help. It's really going to help.
You know what I thought of as well at the end of this question, coach? So the last two sentences were, but I'm so tired by the end of the day. How do I get into the habit of working out? I want to start, but I'm too tired to start. One word came to mind, which is and. Like, you don't go remind me of a day where you're like, you woke up 100% rested and went to work. Okay. Remind me another day where you woke up half in the bag because you went out the night before or you're sick, but you still went to work. So why are you holding such high standards for what you have to do, even to just put in a percent of effort into the workout? Like, yeah, you're tired. Fucking do it anyway. You don't
Yeah.
have to win the workout. We talk to some of our clients sometimes. We'll say, Coach, like I'm feeling sick. Like, what do you think would be best? Like, well, how sick are you feeling? Like, are you unable to do anything? Like, are you like phlegmy? Like, what are you feeling? I'm just feeling a bit run down. Okay, cool. Let's prioritize steps or go through the session instead of as a strength workout as more of like a movement session, opportunity to
Yeah.
practice the exercises rather than loading them heavy. You can
Yeah.
still do something.
I think it's a matter of consequences and accountability. Like if you
Mm,
just don't show up to work because you're feeling a little bit run down or you just didn't feel like going to work, either other people have to pick up the slack and are going to be pissed at you when you do go back to work, or you'll get fired. There are like short term consequences and immediate accountability. Whereas if you choose not to work out because you're tired this week, and then again next week, and then again next week, there are no short term consequences aside from feeling tired.
mm,
There are long term consequences: poor health, high blood pressure, heart problems, okay, increased risks of a bunch of different diseases. So the consequences are way worse, but because they they happen slowly, it takes time for the accumulation of the results of your choice to not train. And then suddenly, shit, like, okay, this is bad. Like you're gonna have to be on medication for the rest of your life. This is irreversible. Or maybe it isn't, because some things are, but a lot of stuff isn't. So do you want that consequence? And I hate to be fear driven here,
well,
but I think there's nothing wrong with occasionally reminding people about what will happen if you don't fix the shit that's going on right now.
I don't even think it's so much fear driven so much as it's just reality, man. Like you're just saying
Sure.
it how it is, right? And if it
Yeah.
scares you, then fucking do something about it. Like the story 9 times out of 10 is always the same. You're not strength training because you never needed to. Then all of a sudden you start to feel a little bit more tired because you start gaining more responsibilities. Life starts to build on you. Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
then from there you start to notice little aches and pains. You're like, oh wow, that's weird. I never felt that before, but whatever, it's fine. And you kind of cope through it. You get used to it. You don't realize your posture's changing. You don't realize you're
Mm.
sleeping more poorly. You're not realizing that you're not well because you're no longer well anymore. The sick becomes the baseline.
Yeah.
From
Mhm.
there, you don't wear clothes you used to wear because they're fitting a little tight. They're not comfortable. So you buy bigger sizes. Over time, you're not paying attention until you have to go to the doctor. You do a checkup, and all of a sudden now it's like, hey, you should really start to watch this situation. Yeah, I'll be fine. Then instead of working on preventative stuff, you look to cure things. Once you have to start curing things, good luck. It's more about prevention to get you to a place where you can have good lifespan and health span and be able to enjoy the quality of your years, of your later years. When you start to notice those small feelings of like pain, discomfort, not sleeping well, noticing your mood is shittier, those are signals your body's telling you, like, hey, we got to do something here.
Mm.
And if you continue to ignore them, those signals only get louder until the point where, like you're mentioning, okay, now it's a matter of how do we mitigate the long term effects rather than being able to change the course that we're on.
Exactly. Yeah. Well said, coach. Also, how's your sleep right now? Okay, you mentioned you're tired. Yeah, okay. It's could be, as you're guessing, it's because you're not training for sure. But how's your sleep? Are you
Mm.
going to bed at midnight, 1 a.m. because you need your me time for 3 fucking hours every evening? That choice that you're making is also potentially impacting why you're so tired. But not even potentially. If that is happening, you're trying to get by on 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep a night. Of course you're fucking tired. Of course. So that is another choice that you need to stop making, to stay up late and make a different choice to go to bed, not even at like 8 or 9 a.m., but if you're currently going to bed at like midnight, 1 a.m., can we maybe say like 11 at the latest? I don't think that's too unreasonable. And nobody needs that much me time. Your me time can be your workouts, right? One of the reasons why I love working out at home, I can watch whatever I want to watch while I'm training during my rest times. It's awesome. And I happen to be doing something healthy at the same time. Yeah, that's where you get your me time from. Like for me, when the kids are in bed, the dog's been taken for a walk, the dishes have been done, I'm going to bed. I'm not staying up really late.
Not only that, but like we are no longer in the era of we need to wait until an episode of something comes out next week, sit down, have to watch it, can't
Exactly.
miss anything. Like, bro, you can rewind the fucking show if you miss a part. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah,
you can watch it whenever you want, really.
exactly. Yeah, watch it on Sunday, right? Watch it on the weekend. Why you don't have to watch it tonight?
Hmm.
Yeah. I only watch when did I last sit down to watch stuff? It's like once a week I sit down with my wife to actually watch something on Netflix or on TV or something. The
Hmm.
rest of the time, if I am watching something, it's either while I'm training or while I'm doing the dishes. Just the idea of just like, I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to watch something like every single evening. Like that is such a foreign idea to me at this point. I used to do it a lot before kids, especially, right? But when, we come home from work, have dinner, I'm like, okay, want to watch something? Like, that's cool. Yeah. But you have kids now. Like you got to be with your kids. You got to put them to bed. And then they're in bed at like what, between 7:30 and 8:30 for most of the people who listen to this. And yeah, maybe you have time to watch half an hour. You watch a show, maybe an hour show done at 9:30, but not 2 or 3 back to back. It's like, go the fuck to bed. Come on. You're an adult. Get your sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. The sleep is a big component of it. I think also asking this person, well, how much water are you drinking in a day too? Because that's also going to affect your energy
Right.
levels.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy how something that is literally 0 calories will give you energy after you drink some, right? It's crazy.
2 weeks without food, 3 days without water, 0 days without breath, work in reverse order, you know? So take a breath, change your state through breathing, have a sip of water, eat something, and then decide whether or not you think a workout is a good idea or just movement in general. And that'd be
Yeah,
helpful. Yeah.
totally. Yeah, the movements that you start with can literally be going for walks.
Mm.
Right. As much as we talk about, you got to strength train in a calorie deficit to lose the weight. Yeah, that is true. But if you spend a week or two in a moderate calorie deficit while having lots of protein and going for walks, you're not going to lose a ton of muscle. You may lose a little bit. The muscle loss happens when that becomes the consistent pattern over time.
Yeah. And even
Okay.
so,
So if
if
you
you're
want to
doing
start
some
with
movement,
walking, fair fuck it. Yes, go for some walks at first.
even if it's an incline walk, that might actually build some muscle for you considering you're not doing anything of any intensity right now.
If we go from 0 to something, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, coach.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, and maybe this person too thinks they have to train at the gym, and we already covered this. Like train at home. Like the last thing that I would want to do after a day of working is then immediately after work go to the loud gym that's just full and packed of people like training. Like, no, that's the worst thing. I would not want to do that. I love going to the gym during the day. Love that. Like anytime between 10 and 3. Love training in a gym. Before 10, after 3, no way am I going to go in a gym to do a workout. It's too busy.
Mm.
Yeah. So imagine like going into, I mean, you know, we both used to work at the same gym from like 5 o'clock until 7. It was just insane,
It's
wasn't it?
fucking
Right?
chaos, bro. Yeah.
Just yeah, and you would have to change literally every single workout that you had planned. You'd have to change on the fly because the equipment was being used, or the bench was unavailable, or the dumbbells that you wanted were all being used. So you'd have to just like change stuff on the fly, and it was
Mm.
loud, and it was busy. And like, imagine if you had like 4 or 5 hours of sleep the night before, you've worked all day at your desk, and then you're in that environment. Like, fuck that. Fuck that. Go home, tell the kids, okay, this is now my play area. Go the fuck upstairs, please. Do your workout. And yeah, it's just a much nicer environment, right? Oh man, anybody would think that I hate kids, but I'm like, yeah, they don't need 3 play areas. They don't need that many.
That's funny. I wouldn't know. My condo is an entire play area for my cat. I know animals aren't the same as kids, but I do feel like
Yeah.
there might be some similarities.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we have time for one more question, Coach. Which one did you want to
Yes.
answer?
Why don't we go with the second one here?
Sure. Do you want to read it out?
Yeah, sure. This person asked, is it possible to lose fat without feeling hungry all the time?
Hmm. Well, yes. Okay, done. Next question. No, okay.
Thanks for coming.
Yes.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
So you have to anticipate more hunger in the first like 3-ish days. So your first 3 days in a calorie deficit, there's going to be noticeable hunger. From then on out, your body will start to adapt. And from then on out, you should anticipate experiencing, I like to describe it as mild hunger sometimes.
Mm.
Because if you never experience any hunger ever in a calorie deficit, you're probably not in a calorie deficit
Mm.
or you're on a GLP-1.
Mm.
Right. That's it. So, Coach, what are some of the things that we help our clients to do so that they don't feel hunger all the time in a calorie deficit?
Well, I think one of my favorite things that we do is just the education around what a hunger is. Because our stomach has one signal, which is, I'm hungry, feed me. That's it. Imagine anytime anybody asks you a question, you said, hunger, I'm hungry, let's eat. Like that's basically what your stomach's signal is to your brain. So if you're stressed, we think, oh, I got to eat something. I want ice cream. I want chocolate. I want something to just curb this. Cool. If you're tired, like, yeah, stressed, tired, if you're thirsty, most hunger pains are actually thirst pains in disguise. So if you drink some water, that often helps people reduce their hunger cravings as well, because even it as little as 2% difference in terms of your hydration can cause you to become foggier, feeling hungry, all of these things that end up lending themselves to you feeling like you need to snack. And if after you snack or eat something with adequate protein, you're still hungry, chances are you're actually thirsty.
It's pretty common. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are a few things that we do to help our clients. The first one, and one of the first things that we do address, is getting enough protein.
Mm-hmm.
So eating enough protein is going to be really important here. So we want to take your target weight in pounds, multiply by 0.7, and then also take your target weight in pounds, multiply by 1, and exist in that protein range. Hit that protein range each day. So if your target weight is 150 pounds, times 0.7 is 105, times 1 is 150. So between 105 and 150 grams of protein per day. We want to get that down. Another thing that we think about is not being in too big a deficit, like not under eating. So we typically put our clients in a 400 to 600 calorie deficit per day.
Mm.
Any more than that, there's going to be more hunger. Any less than that, the results are going to be so slow that they're going to lose motivation. Right. And,
Mm.
things like sleep are going to be key. Sleep
Absolutely.
is going to help you get those hunger hormones under control. And also, Coach, why don't you talk more about hydration? Because that can play
Yeah.
a role here too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to your hunger levels around hydration too, like I mentioned earlier, you having that only that one signal from your stomach, when you do finally drink some water, you might actually feel like you're fuller. So it's going to also put something in your system for yourself. So it's going to help
Yeah.
to curb that. I'm going to be talking about this a lot more in my hydration challenge that I'm running that's starting on May 10th. Coach, I think you said you'd be willing to put it in the show notes. Yeah.
Oh
To
yeah, yeah.
register.
Just so tap the link in the show notes and we'll just fill out. Is there a form to complete or something?
Yeah. It's a simple form. It's just your name and
Yeah.
email.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Coach
Uh,
Santa will email you all the details of that.
so yeah, in terms of hydration, like if you're not hydrated enough, then from there you're not going to have enough energy, like we mentioned earlier. Your body's going to reduce the amount of blood volume that you have because of that. So the likelihood of you being able to exchange nutrients at a molecular level is much lower. Everything starts to slow down because your body isn't moving as well because of the lack of hydration. This is like not having adequate oil in your car, for example. So if you have the ability to have the nutrients be exchanged through hydration, then you'll be able to feel like you have more energy, etc. But when you look at it from a fat loss perspective as well, hydration is going to be or water in general is going to be one of the main things that facilitates fat loss. It's lipolysis. It's one of the key factors in it. So if you're not drinking adequate water, you being able to lose fat is going to be significantly reduced. So not only that, but if you're persistently dehydrated, again, your energy levels are going to be much lower. The likelihood you
Yeah.
move more are going to be much less. You'll be then burning less calories. Your sleep is going to be worse because now you've gone an entire day without any hydration. Your body will naturally want to wake you up at night for purposes of what you feel is hunger. Again, like we mentioned earlier, but it's actually dehydration. So it's this vicious cycle of, like you mentioned too, if you get poor sleep, then our hormones are compromised, leading to you wanting to
Yeah.
overeat. So it's about this holistic approach we take with our clients of, okay, how do we address the entire system? How do we make
Yeah.
sure that you're also getting adequate fiber intake? And if you are getting adequate
Huge.
fiber intake, yeah, but this
Mm.
is another part where if you're not getting adequate hydration intake for your fiber, that fiber's got nothing to work with.
Mm.
So how do we make sure that if you're having adequate fiber to feel full, that that's also being passed along through the hydration that we're having as well, which yeah, that's the key part of it. You need water.
Yeah.
We're made up of 80, 75 to 90% depending on who you ask of it.
Mm. Yeah. Fiber is another big one. And as we were saying last week, we think that protein has become overrated and fiber
Hmm.
is definitely underrated. It's almost as if fiber is the new protein.
Oh
So
God,
yeah, wait until we see like fiber infused fucking Starbucks drinks and fucking Snickers. That's coming. That is coming.
bro,
I'm gonna put
please.
it out there officially. This is date stamped. That's my prediction. We are gonna see a high fiber candy bar of some kind, a high fiber coffee of some kind from one of the major chains. That's coming. Um. Uh oh.
Are you
I might.
familiar? Are you familiar with the
Go.
Cassandra effect?
No, no. What is that?
So the Cassandra effect is, I'll read this up straight from Google so I don't mess this up.
Okay.
But it's a phenomenon where a person's valid warnings or accurate predictions about the future negative events are either ignored, dismissed, or ridiculed. So it comes from Greek mythology. Essentially, you're early, and because you're early on how this guy's crazy. There's no way fiber's gonna be the new protein. And in 6 months, we're gonna be like, go back to episode whatever it was, and there he is saying it ahead of
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The other good thing about eating fiber is fiber tends to come from foods that are very like high volume and
Mm.
therefore filling, make you feel more full, but not so calorie dense. So they contain fewer calories.
Mm.
So if you were to, by weight, like weigh out everything that I eat in a given day, easily most food that I eat by weight, by volume is from plants. Like I eat a ton of oats, chia seeds, berries, vegetables, starches. I eat a ton of plant-based foods. Right, to go back
Mm.
to what Charles Poliquin said, right? I think we quoted him, was it last week or the week before? The best diet is vegan with meat, right?
It's
So, so I eat a shit ton of plants and plant-based foods for sure. I get a lot of fiber. High 30s, about 40 grams of fiber per day. My hunger levels are manageable all day. It's very, very steady. And I attribute that to having increased my fiber intake intentionally the last few weeks,
yeah.
few months. That's huge. And then,
Yeah.
go ahead, coach. Yeah.
I was going to add to what you're mentioning about fiber. Like, what else does fiber do? Yeah, sure, it's dietary roughage, helps to clear things out of your system, but it also helps to manage your blood sugar. So if you're not
Mm.
having any fiber, you're going to get an increase or a spike in your blood sugar, but then it's going to crash. But because fiber makes things not only digest better, but take longer to pass through your system, your blood sugar stays more stable longer. So
Mm.
because of that, you won't feel that crash like you have when you have something that's super processed that your bloodstream can very quickly process. So because you have that slower arc or burn in terms of your energy levels, you'll feel like, okay, I'm not always tired. I'm not always hungry. It allows you to stay fuller longer from that perspective as well.
And then there's one more thing that I can think of when it comes to managing hunger in a calorie deficit. That is to have consistent meal times because your
Absolutely.
body will start to learn when to anticipate food and then pump out hunger hormones at around those times when you're going to be eating anyway. So that's why
Mhm.
consistent meal times are important for weight loss. Not because having consistent meal times will directly cause weight loss. It's because it helps you manage hunger better.
Yes. And for the parents who are listening, you know this already because your kids need to be on meal times at an early age. We are just
Yeah.
big kids. It's the same thing for us too. When you can anticipate and expect things, it makes it easier to say, okay, yeah, I'm feeling a bit hungry, but I know my meal's coming in 10 minutes, 15, 20
Yeah.
minutes, half an hour
Yeah.
versus I don't know when I'm going to eat because I didn't plan it. So I'm just going to push off food until the point where my hunger hormones are so high that even if I eat a full meal, I now can't get ahead of them.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh, there is one more thing that came to mind just now. Stop eating such teeny tiny breakfasts and lunches. Like, how often
Bro,
do we see this? Like 100 calories at breakfast and 170 at lunch, and then
and 9,000
1,000 in
calories
the
of
evening on
snacks.
snacks. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I I put up a challenge on Instagram a month or two ago. It was called the 50% by 2 p.m. challenge, and as I'm sure you can guess, it meant eating 50% of your calories by 2 p.m. Okay, so if you're aiming for about 1,800 calories per day, breakfast plus lunch should total around 900 calories. That means you're eating enough during the day to not get home after work feeling just ravenous and raiding the pantry before dinner time, while still leaving plenty of calories for a decent sized dinner and an
Mm.
optional snack if you want one still. So, undereating during the day is what causes overeating later in the day, in the evening. So, you stop enough of that like teeny tiny breakfast and lunch shit, please.
Even if you think of the timeline in which that works on, it's like you're very conscientious first thing in the morning because you're somewhat rested. So you think, okay, I'm going to have a small meal. Then you go to the
Yeah.
next meal, it's a small meal. And now you have little to no energy because you're operating on next to no calories. So
Yeah.
what decision do you make? Fuck it, I'm going to eat. And that's what ends up keeping you in this loop over time. You're putting my
Yeah.
meals are so small. Yeah, but your last meal of the day is the biggest one, which then lends itself to you having poor sleep and repeat cycle for the next
Exactly.
12 years.
Yeah, for sure. And people say to me, but oh, what if I overeat in the evening and I've had like so many calories during the day? That's the point. This is gonna like give you a much better chance of having control when you get back home after work,
Mm.
after dinner, because you haven't undereaten during the day and spiked your hunger. Yeah, just give it a try. It's shocking when you first do it. It feels, oh my God, I've had like 900 calories breakfast and lunch. Normally I've got like 1,500 left at least. But I mean, was that working for you? Probably not. That's why you're in this situation. So yeah, eat more during the day. Coach Santa, thank you for today. Thank you for everybody who listened. If you enjoyed this episode, we would very much appreciate a 5-star review or a like on whatever platform you are consuming this on. Have a great week and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks, Coach.